One, two. Thank you. Senator, the Honorable Gloria Thomas, Minister for Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, Mr. Victor Clark, British High Commission to Grenada, Honorable Dr. Clarice Modeste Kerwin, Member of Parliament and Member of the Women's Parliamentary Caucus, Mrs. Naomi Jeremiah, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for social development and gender affairs, Mr. Finlay Jaffrey, Permanent Secretary with the responsibility for community and development and housing, representatives of stakeholder organizations, representatives of the business community, heads of department and staff of the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, in addition to our viewers online, viewing this wonderful gathering here, and very important gathering via the Grenada Information Service, GIS, and also Mikey Live. Good morning all, and good morning. This is the official launch of the Gender-Based Violence Strategy for 2024, hosted by the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs Gender-Based Violence Unit. Now, before we get into the meat of the matter, and it's so much important matters to discuss today, I would like to start off firstly with the invocation. I'd like to invite to the podium Pastor Jerome Gordon to lead us with the invocation. Of course, he's representing the Grenada Seventh-day Adventist Conference.
May I invite you to stand with me, please, as we pray. Let us pray. Almighty God, our Father in heaven, the creator of the cosmos, the master of the Milky Way, the God who reigns supremely, we bow in reverent acknowledgement of your majesty and your power. And as we have come to this spot of ground for this very important launch, we ask, O God, that your presence will be with us. As this program seeks to heighten the consciousness, to expand awareness of this scourge of gender-based violence, we pray, O God, that this program will accomplish its noble purpose and that we will leave here more aware, more empowered to do what we can to ensure that there is probity and equality among our citizens as we continue to advocate for peace, for justice, and for the reduction and removal of gender-based violence. Please, Father, bless our gathering today, and when we shall have come to the end of it, we shall be careful to thank you for all that you would have done in, through, and for us, is our humble prayer with thanksgiving. In Jesus' precious name, let everybody say amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pastor Gordon. Ladies and gentlemen, as is customary, we now have the national anthem. I'd like to invite those of you who have already taken your seats to please stand once more. And we have the amazing RGPF band who will lead us with the national anthem. Thank you so much. Please be seated. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen and viewers, we are gathered here today as a collective to embark on this momentous journey that brings hope to many of our citizens, particularly those who are marginalized. I'm a proud citizen, Grenadian woman, mother, wife, also leader in the space of media. And I really am excited to be here to share this moment this morning. Now, before we move on with the agenda, as we launch a Gender-Based Violence Strategy Plan 2024, there are clear objectives: to inform on the Gender-Based Violence Strategic Plan 2024 and to garner support and collaboration from our many stakeholders. I wanted to take some time to share some statistics with you. Reflecting on the severity of the issue at hand, according to the RG, analyzed by the Project Coordination and Implementation Unit of the Spotlight Initiative Grenada, there were 335 reports of sexual abuse in 2022. In January 2023, 42% of all cases in the assizes were sexual offenses, with 36% involving sexual intercourse with a minor. The Women's Health and Life Experience Survey 2018 also reported that the lifetime prevalence of physical and/or sexual intimate partner violence in Grenada is 29%. 1 in every 4 Grenadian women has suffered physical violence at some point in her life. Close to 1 in every 10 Grenadian women have experienced sexual violence over her lifetime. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, these figures emphasize the critical necessity for thorough and ongoing initiatives aimed at addressing sexual and intimate partner violence right here in our beautiful island. As we move forward, let us keep in mind the words of Audre Lorde, and I quote, I'm not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own. Folks, there's lots to think about. There's lots of stats, there's lots of information, and I think if we come together as a collective unit, we can make this work. And with that being said, I'd like us to move on with the program for this morning. We start things off firstly with the welcome address that will be delivered by Mrs. Naomi Jeremiah, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for social development and gender affairs. Please welcome Madam PS.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Senator, the Honorable Minister, Gloria Thomas, Minister for Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs. Mr. Victor Clark, British High Commissioner to Grenada. Honorable Dr. Clarice Modest Cohen, Member of Parliament and Member of Women's Parliamentary Caucus. Representative from stakeholder organizations, representative of the business community, heads of department of the Ministry of Social Development, Community Development, and Housing and Gender Affairs. Special invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, RGPF representative, members of the media all, welcome. It is indeed a pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all and one here today, to our minister, along with our invitees, all stakeholders, my hardworking staff, very hardworking staff at the Ministry of Social Development, Housing and Gender Affairs. Today is a historic occasion for us at the ministry as we launch this mega program This is our local strategic action plan to reduce gender-based violence within the state of Grenada. This plan is a homegrown strategic plan which will promote violence-free homes, which will end up with violence-free communities. The plan was put forward based on evidence given from various sources. The problems with GBV must be given the required attention to position it as the national issue. It's all concerning all of us, and it requires national response instead of marginalization, decentralization, and disjointed approach. To this end, the plan or the roadmap, which will avail later on during the program, will comprise of many community engagements and initiatives along with its stakeholders. In this regard, I call upon us all today to join hands together. Let us end all forms of violence against our women, our children, our men, our boys, and our girls. With this plan, and with God in the middle of the plan, we believe that success will come our way. I believe that we can retain the status of Grenada being a peaceable, loving, caring, hospitable society. Let us pledge today to make a change together. I welcome you, I welcome one, I welcome all, and do enjoy the entire day's program. I thank you.
Thank you so much, P.S. Jeremiah, for that passionate opening remarks. And now we move on. We have a few little interludes of music here and there, just to lighten the mood, just a little bit. And the first is by Miss Alice Victor Roberts. Miss Roberts will be performing for us this morning. Please give her a warm welcome.
Gardens of your lips, cleanse silence of attain perpetual violence, grow righteous tongues and loving hands of truth, for your tears harvest health, guide our youth. Your power, your love is pure, replenish the earth with your essence. There's so much that you endure. Touch everyone with your message. One thing I know for sure, it's time that we start to restore the violence on women no more. Let me see your hands in the air. I want you to stand up and play your part. Play your part. We will no longer be silent. I want you to stand up and play your part. Play your part. Stand up to family violence. Let me see your hands in the air. If you're hearing me over there, we no longer living in fear. Stop the violence everywhere. We're doing it together, 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 together. You and me together, 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 yeah. My son, now you can't destroy Smile when you laugh is a blessing, yeah. The petals that you enjoy. Listen will teach you a lesson, yeah. One thing that I know for sure, the stand that we start to restore. Say violence on woman no more. I wanna put your hands up in the air. I want you to stand up and play your part. Play your part. We will no longer be silent. I want you to stand up and play your part. Play your part. Stand up to family violence. Let me see your hands in the air. If you hear me over there, we're no longer living in fear. Stop the violence everywhere. We're doing it together, 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 together. You and me together, 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 together. I want you to put your hands in the air. Let me see you standing up there. Stop the violence everywhere. We're no longer living in fear. I want you to stand up and play your part. Play your part. We will no longer be silent. I want you to stand up and play your part. Play your part. Stand up against family violence. Let me see your hands in the air. We no longer living in fear. Stop the violence everywhere. We're no longer living in fear.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Miss Alice Victor Roberts. Of course, this is the launch of a gender-based violence strategy, and one of the strategies, of course, is to play your part. Maybe raise your hands in the air too, right? Yes. And I just have a little back note here to share with you regarding that song. It was part of the campaign created by UNICEF, Play Your Part, under the Spotlight Initiative project that ran for 2020 to 2023. It's really encouraging everyone to play your part. No matter how small, play your part. Hey, Alice, you sound great, by the way. So now we move on, this time to a very important presentation, which will be delivered by Miss Nancy Joseph. She is a woman detective, female detective, a sergeant attached to the Special Victims Unit. Please welcome Miss Joseph.
Senator the Honorable Gloria Thomas, Minister for Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, Mr. Victor Clark, British High Commission to Grenada, Honorable Dr. Clarice Modest Corrin, Member of Parliament and Member of the Women's Parliamentary Caucus, Mrs. Naomi Jeffrey, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for social development and gender affairs, representatives of stakeholder organizations, representatives of the business community, heads of department and staff of the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, good morning all. As law enforcement, we actively engage with persons of the community to build trust, confidentiality, and rapport. We embark on these initiatives through community policing strategies. So we are extremely happy and excited to be considered by the Ministry of Social and Community Development, and Gender Affairs as they embark on unfolding their strategic plan for the year 2024. Statistics at the Special Victims Unit from January to April of 2024 reveals an increase by 65.08% in reported matters of gender-based violence. And these would include sexual offenses spanning from rape, sexual assault, indecent assault, etc. Along with our current detection rate, which also increased by 22.4%. This increase in reports is attributed to factors such as an increase in the number of complainants, one. We have more persons coming forward to make these reports as they are more aware of the reporting mechanisms that are now in place. Multiple counts of offenses being identified from one complaint, and reports from previous years that are now being reported to the police. All of these matters reported thus far have all been reported by females. It indicates that females are still largely the victims of this such abuse, while males are largely the perpetrators. This is a clear indication that the issue of gender-based violence is still very important and a prominent matter for concern by all. At the Special Victims Unit, we prioritize the safety and well-being of these victims. We provide services and resources that are tailored to their specific needs by working collaboratively with other agencies such as the Child Protection Unit, the Probation Unit, the Gender-Based Violence Unit, and others. This approach involves empowering victims to make decisions about their cases, their safety and well-being, while we respect their views and ensure confidentiality and privacy to the matters that are reported. We are also able to provide the necessary support and services, care and direction to the victims and other persons who are directly and negatively impacted by gender-based violence. We are committed to these partnerships in the realization of safer communities. At our department, we also assist persons in filling out protection orders before the court, as well as making complaints against perpetrators and any type of assistance they may require. The general public can assist and help to curb the instances of gender-based violence by being our brother's keeper. We have always encouraged persons to speak up and break the silence, standing firm on the expression, if you see something, say something. That would ensure that the persons who are affected are able to access the services provided and the help needed. Our reporting mechanisms are accessible, hence our hotline, which is a toll-free number. We have 400, which directly accesses you to the Special Victims Unit, and the 911, which is a direct accession to the RGPF hotline. And it provides a medium for anonymous reporting to persons wishing to report matters of such a nature to the police. We are there, ready and available to answer your call. We pledge our assistance to the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs in their initiatives for this year, 2024. One of the quotes that were developed as part of the elimination of violence against women by Honor Blackman speaks volumes, and it states, "Violence can be so easy for people to ignore, as it often happens without any witnesses, and it is sometimes easier not to get involved. Yet, by publicly speaking out against violence, together we can challenge attitudes towards violence and show that it is a crime, and not merely acceptable." Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Detective Sergeant Joseph, for your presentation. And it's important to let folks know that there is help, and at the touch of a button, you dial that number and you can get help. There are many, many facets, many ways you can get help. So now we move on. We continue with the remarks, this time by the Director of Social Development, Ms. Chrissy Wilm Charles. Ms. Charles.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Senator the Honorable Gloria Thomas, Minister for Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, Mr. Victor Clark, British High Commissioner to Grenada, Honorable Dr. Clarice Modeste Curring, Member of Parliament and Member of the Women's Parliamentary Caucus, Mrs. Naomi Jeremiah, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for Social Development and Gender Affairs, representatives of UN agencies and other key stakeholder organizations, representatives of the business community. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Representatives of the business community, heads of department and staff of the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, our specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, persons viewing online. Good morning. It's my pleasure here to just give you a brief remark based on some of the achievements of our ministry as we join hands together with our stakeholders and many other counterparts in ending the scourge of ending violence against women, men, girls, and boys. And hasten to say that a lot of our work is really based on people who would have stood before me, all right, and who continues to stand in the gap as we try to bring relief to a lot of our women and our girls and those people who are in bondage and marginalized. And we also recognize that domestic violence is a borderless issue that stands on one universal truth, one that is applicable to all countries, cultures, and communities. As a collective, we agree that violence against women is never acceptable, never excusable, and never tolerable. Ban Ki-moon. Locally, and you're going to be hearing the statistics over and over again, because the message needs to go out there. Crime statistics found that in 2022, there were 335 reports of sexual abuse. In January 2023, 42% of all cases in their sizes were sexual offenses, of which 36% involved sexual intercourse with a minor. Women Health and Life Experience Survey, and this is our reference point, projected that 1 in every 3 women in our country have experienced violence. And if we look around and we see the amount of women who are sitting in our midst, just hasten to add that 1 in every 3 may have experienced violence. Now, this empirical evidence continues to drive the agenda of the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs forward. The strategic framework will continue to address the problem of gender-based violence and will automatically lay the groundwork for a Grenadian society free of gender-based violence. Social Development and Gender Affairs continue to amplify its actions to this end and cannot and will not stop until Grenada is deemed violence-free. In fact, all our interventions are strategic and purposeful. They are treatment-oriented and provide feasible recommendations for the benefit of everyone. Our efforts are in keeping with the Government of Grenada's National Sustainable Development Plan, the Medium-Term Agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals, and our Cooperate Plan. The ministry is particularly keen on building and upscaling community engagements and solidifying partnerships towards ending violence against women and girls. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a must. Building a resilient society involves the participation of everyone. This fundamental goal-oriented principle is synergetic to a collective approach where we join forces and resources in tackling any issues that threatens the right to live in peaceful and productive spaces towards one that honors and promotes the inherent worth and dignity of all. We must, therefore, continue to build communities of power, communities that are family-oriented, that involve all the duty bearers, CSO, FBOs, NGOs, private and public sectors, in other words, the whole of Grenada. The combined tacit knowledge and desires to serve with distinction create situations that, and I repeat, promote humanization. So I'm going to just say this specifically to our donors because within our midst, we have so many of our stakeholders who continue to invest in our country. Every knock on the door means that the silence is progressively shattering. Every positive engagement means that hope is coming. Every successful intervention means that one life or lives is or are saved. Every victim that moves through their continuum into sustainable survivorship means that the deeply tight cycle of violence is slowly dismantling. However, every door that is purposefully closed, every engagement that is perpetually negative, every intervention that failed, and every victim that remains a victim simply means that we may have failed in some ways. We must continue to say no to violence. Our actions must reflect and align to this lifelong commitment and goal. And so we look towards hope. We continue our collective approach. Violence against women cannot be tolerated in any form, in any context, in any circumstance by anyone. The best protection any woman, man, boy, girl can have is courage. Courage to live, fight, survive, and press on. And those of you who are online and you probably may be viewing it, courage to live, and I'm speaking to you directly. You have courage to live, to fight, to survive, and to press on. You have that courage. May this strategy be a powerful symbol and stance that the ministry and all its stakeholders hold. We shall not be silent. Together with everyone, we can make a positive change by making us all safe, our families, our friends, colleagues, and community. And I'm going to leave you with this quotation from Kofi Annan. Violence against women is perhaps the most shameful human rights violation, and it is perhaps the most pervasive. It knows no boundary of geography, culture, or wealth. As long as it continues, we cannot claim to be making real progress towards equality, development, and peace. The Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs stands with everyone, all our vulnerables, and especially at this point in time, people who have been affected by domestic violence. Thank you very much.
Ms. Chrissy Worm-Charles, Director of Social Development. Thank you so much for that powerful delivery. And folks, yes, I think the operative word here is courage. I like that word, courage. So we're continuing with a little bit of entertainment. And I think the star for today, one of the stars for today, she's coming back. She's going to be performing another piece for us. Alice, she's right there. So just a little bit more light entertainment. Compliments Alice.
I was born strong. I was made for this. See, I met so many hard times when I thought I couldn't make it. See, I had my trials when my bills dried my eyes. Then the morning came and my wings took flight. I rise. See, I'm hurting but not broken. Down but I won't die. I rise. Soon I will reach the sky, and soon I rise. Some say it's a mystery how I still believe. Then in spite of all I've been through, I can still push the wheel. I have a power they can see with their eyes. It's a little thing called faith that makes broken wings fly. I rise. Though I'm hurting but not broken. Down but I won't die. I rise. Soon I will reach the sky, and still I rise. Who can understand when does an ordinary man defies the odds?
Miss Alice Victor Roberts, thank you so much. We're getting lots of meaningful performances here. It's message in the music. So it's not just about the addresses, the remarks, but also in the music as well. This time we move on to a very important juncture in this program. At this time, I'd like to invite to the podium Honorable Gloria Ann Thomas, Minister of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, to deliver the special address. Minister?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Victor Clark, British High Commissioner to Grenada, Honorable Dr. Clarice Modest Cohen, Member of Parliament and Chairman of the Women's Parliamentary Caucus. She's just more than a member. Mrs. Naomi Jeremiah, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for social development and gender affairs, representatives of UN agencies and other stakeholder organizations, representatives from the business community, heads of department and staff of the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, members of the Royal Grenada Police Force, pleasant good morning to all. Before I get into the meat of the matter, I want you to walk with me for a moment, just for a moment. Let us walk through this beautiful country of ours called Grenada. Picture the homes that should be haven of love and safety. Let's just picture that. Homes that should be haven for love and safety. Places where people should find the greatest comfort, but are instead the source of trauma for many of our women, girls, boys, men. Imagine for a moment in the shoes of a victim of intimate partner violence, sexual violence, or child abuse. Picture the fear that grips the heart, the helplessness, and the isolation they experience, the cries for help. Let's just imagine that. The trauma that has colored their every thought, leaving them feeling ashamed and anxious. Each day, a battle for survival. Each day, a cry for help. Our communities need change from these scenarios. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you that there is hope. There is hope because we are here today to launch our gender-based violence strategic plan for the next few months. It is with profound gratitude and a deep sense of purpose that I stand before you here today. The Ministry and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, Gender-Based Violence Community Engagement Strategy, 2024. Gender-based violence is a scourge, and we must confront this harsh reality that plagues our society. The prevalence of gender-based violence in Grenada is not just a statistic. It is a reflection of the deep-rooted challenges we face as a nation. It is a call to action that cannot be ignored. As we continue to celebrate 50 years as an independent nation, we must be resolute in our stance to eradicate gender-based violence in all its forms. Today marks a significant milestone in our ongoing efforts to combat the shadow pandemic of domestic and sexual violence in Grenada. Before we proceed, let us take a moment to honor and remember the victims and survivors of domestic violence, sexual abuse, and child abuse. The women, the girls, the boys, the men who have suffered in silence, and those who have lost their lives. Please stand and let us observe a minute silence in their memory and in solidarity with their resilience. Thank you. You may have your seats. Launch and community engagement strategy is empowering communities, ending violence, play your part. This theme was chosen because the Ministry of Social Development recognizes the fight against gender-based violence require the active participation of every individual and institution within our country. By empowering our communities, we can foster a culture of zero tolerance towards violence. We must support and empower victims and challenge the behaviors and attitudes of those perpetrators. This strategy calls upon everyone to contribute to creating a safer, more just, and more compassionate environment for all. This theme was adopted from the UNICEF campaign, Play Your Part, which was developed under the recently concluded Spotlight Initiative strategy. The women's health, and I want to reiterate the statistics, because as a teacher I know reputation helps with retention. The Women's Health and Life Experience Survey conducted in 2018 provides us with sobering insights into the prevalence of gender-based violence in our beloved country. The survey revealed that 35% of women and girls in Grenada have experienced physical and/or sexual violence in their lifetime. This statistic is not just a number. It represents mothers, sisters, daughters, neighbors, and friends whose lives have been marred by violence. It is a clarion call for urgent and sustained action. The Women's Health and Life Experience Survey 2018 revealed further distressing statistics. The lifetime prevalence of physical and/or sexual intimate partner violence in Grenada is 29%. 1 in every 4 Grenadian women has suffered physical violence at some point in her life. Close to 1 in every 10 Grenadian women has experienced sexual violence over her lifetime. According to the Royal Grenada Police Force Crime Statistics Report for the year 2021 and 2022, and we were privileged to have more updated statistics by the officer who presented a while ago. The report of the year 2021 and 2022 and analyzed by the Project Coordination and Implementation Unit of the Spotlight Initiative Grenada, there were 335 reports of sexual abuse in 2022. Additionally, in January 2023, 42% of all cases in the assizes were sexual offenses, with 36% involving sexual intercourse with a minor. It is important for us to reiterate the state of affairs because it is not looking good. It is for this reason that the ministry and I remain resolute in the fight against gender-based violence. We will continue to take to the highways and the byways, to every corner of the communities of our Tri-Island state, the necessary educational and awareness campaign that are needed for change. Gender-based violence is a significant human rights, public health, and security concern that impedes development and has a domino effect of negative consequences affecting families, communities, our societies, and our world. It is an issue that demands our collective action and unwavering commitment. In the face of such daunting challenges, the government cannot do it alone. It is only through robust partnerships and collaborative effort that we can hope to make meaningful progress. And this is one of the reasons why we invited some of our stakeholders and NGOs here to be part of this launch, because we are expecting you to engage with us as we go out in the community to solve this problem. Why is a strategy to engage our communities, men, women, and children necessary? This strategy calls upon everyone, every institution, every organization, and every individual to play their part. The theme for this community engagement strategy, Empowering Communities, Ending Violence, underscores our collective mission. We need to foster a culture of zero tolerance towards gender-based violence. We need to ensure that victims feel safe, supported, and empowered to seek help. We need to educate and engage our communities to recognize and challenge the behaviors and attitudes that perpetuate violence. I also want to highlight the indispensable role of our partners, long-standing and new. Our dedicated stakeholders, your tireless work is proving in providing support to the ministry and to the clients of gender-based violence services has been invaluable. We are also deeply grateful to our community, faith-based, financial, and all other organizations whose effort has been instrumental in reaching those in need. Your compassion and commitment embody the spirit of community that is at the heart of this strategy. Together, these organizations have not only supported our initiatives, but have also directly impacted the lives of countless men, women, boys, and girls throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique. Your contributions have brought hope, support, and a path to recovery for many who have suffered in silence. As Minister for Social Development, I want to applaud the members of the Gender-Based Violence Unit and the team within the Division of Gender Affairs for their hard work towards ending gender-based violence. Your dedication and relentless efforts are truly commendable. But our work is far from over. Our recent celebration for International Family Day 2024 has reaffirmed that the family remains the cornerstone of society. When families are fractured, it leads to broken communities, which in turn negatively impact our entire society. We must ensure this cycle is prevented. Together, let us build a safer, more just, and more compassionate Grenada for all. To all of you that are here physically or virtually, your presence today indicates your collective commitment to ending violence in our communities. As Minister for Social Development, I implore all of you to continue to give your support to this cause of ending family violence. My government remains steadfast in our dedication to advancing our transformative agenda aimed at combating gender-based violence across Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique. We recognize the profound impact of these issues on our communities and are dedicated to implementing comprehensive strategies that promote safety, support victims, and foster a culture of respect and equality. Through collective efforts with local organizations, international partners, and community leaders, we strive to create an environment where everyone can live free from fear and violence, ensuring a brighter and more equitable future for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Thomas. And I think we're not the only ones eager to see the unveiling happening here this morning. I think the wind is just about ready to see what's under here. But Mother Nature, you have to wait a couple more minutes. So, folks, and just to remind you, for those of you who may have just joined or logged in online, we are here at the official launch of the Gender-Based Violence Strategy 2024. And with that being said, it's time to outline the GBV strategy. And the person charged with that is Ms. Jacinta Alexis. She is the acting senior program officer with the Division of Gender and Family Affairs. She'll be here. Just to mention again, she will be outlining, the strategy for the gender-based violence for 2024. Please welcome warmly Ms. Alexis.
Okay. Good morning. Senator, the Honorable Gloria Ann Thomas, Minister for Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, Mr. Victor Clark, British High Commissioner to Grenada, Honorable Dr. Clarice Modest Cohen, Member of Parliament and Chair of the Women's Parliamentary Caucus, Mrs. Naomi Jeremiah, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for Social Development and Gender Affairs, representatives of stakeholder organizations, representatives of the business community, heads of department and staff of the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, and for the community who is taking us in online, good morning. I am honored to be standing here today to discuss a critical issue that affects not only individuals and families, but our community and society at large. We are here to address gender-based violence and to outline the ministry's strategy for engaging our communities in the fight against this pervasive problem for the next 6 months. Our strategy is not just a plan, it is a call to action. It is a collective effort to create a safer, more equitable Grenada. Gender-based violence is a grave violation of human rights and a significant public health issue. It includes physical, sexual, emotional, and economic abuse, manifesting in various forms such as domestic violence, sexual violence, and child abuse. Globally, the statistics are alarming, with the World Health Organization reporting that about 1 in 3 women have experienced physical and/or sexual violence. In the Caribbean, including Grenada, the prevalence is among the highest, exacerbated by cultural norms and underreporting. The Ministry of Social Development has continued to make strides to address this issue. One such example was the establishment of the Gender-Based Violence Unit, which was established in 2003 and was later renamed, or it was known as the Domestic Violence Unit in 2003, and was later renamed the Gender-Based Violence Unit, with its updated mandate of services being offered. This unit is dedicated to providing protection and assistance to victims and survivors of intimate partner violence and sexual abuse. Additionally, it coordinates national responses to these forms of violence. Since its inception, the GBVU has spearheaded numerous community awareness campaigns aimed at reducing gender-based violence in Grenada and creating avenues for victims and survivors to speak out. Addressing GBV requires more than just awareness. It demands community engagement and a collective approach. Community involvement plays a crucial role in prevention, support, and the creation of a supportive environment for survivors. It helps in dismantling stigmas and ensuring that survivors receive the help they need. So this takes us now to what are the objectives of the strategy that is being shared with you today. For the next 6 months, our strategy is tailored specifically for Grenada and are as follows. 1, we are seeking to raise awareness of the impacts of GBV on the individual, family, community, and society. 2, we are seeking to debunk myths and address the root causes of GBV. 3, raise awareness of the laws and resources available to address GBV. 4, engage men and boys as agents of change. 5, strengthen the support systems by identifying potential change agents within the communities known as gatekeepers to ensure sustained engagement. Okay. So who are we targeting? Our strategy aims to target the general population, so everybody is involved, with a particular focus on secondary school students, aiming to educate and engage the youth while involving men and boys as crucial agents of change. When is this going to be happening? The implementation of the strategy will run from May, with the launch here, to December 2024, a period during which we will undertake various activities and initiatives to meet our objectives. Who would be involved? Our implementers and partners would involve the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs as the lead agent, the Gender-Based Violence Unit as a crucial part of the ministry who will play a pivotal role in this effort. The Gender-Based Violence Unit is dedicated to addressing GBV through coordination of services and direct support to survivors. This series of activities and interventions, the Social Services Department, the Psychosocial and SEED officers. Our key partners include Child Protection Authority, the Royal Grenada Police Unity Outreach. Messages will be tailored to different audiences, ensuring gender content. So let's begin with outlining what you will expect to see in the coming months. The parenting unit will also concurrently engage parents and guardians during the month, teaching them about the effects of family violence, particularly on children. And it would include the power programming, and we leverage the spirit of the carnival season to kick off engagements with a motorcade, and the idea is to feed. These street engagements will provide the public with information on healthy and unhealthy. In September, we kicked that off with a series of town hall meetings. During the month of October, we transitioned into secondary school tours, targeting all secondary schools in Grenada and Carriacou. The National Secondary School Tour will specifically the secondary schools. November 16, we transitioned The ministry will collaborate with the local NGOs, government agencies, community groups, civil society, our media outlets to enhance impact and resource sharing. And we conclude in December with the partner violence, including myths, facts, and more. Additionally, a mobile bus received under the importance, the critical importance of our collective efforts in addressing and combating gender-based violence in Grenada. The road ahead may be challenging, but together, we can build a future where all individuals, regardless of gender, can live free to all think about how you are going to be involved and how you are going to play your part. Thank you very much.
A few minutes ago, but this is the time when we get to see it in its entirety. And we'll also have some music, I understand. We have lots of room up here. Lots of information as it relates to each and every month and what is in store. We're going to keep you updated as it relates to each and every month and what is in store. We're going to keep you updated as time progresses. We are
Over the 50-year corridor since our independence in 1974. We pray, oh God, for our economy. God, for our economy. We too have been affected by post-COVID, vulnerable to all sorts of man-made and indeed natural disasters.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pastor Gordon.
Gender Affairs Unit, Violence Affairs Unit, and we out their directives with professionalism, integrity, and with the sevenfold manifestation of your spirit to this ministry. I cancel all negative influences and discrimination in society. Empower families.
Fancy clothes and chains and things I know. Fancy clothes and chains and things I know. If we were not humble, then now.
Community engagement strategy. This significant milestone would not have been possible, and hard work laid the foundation for this strategy, ensuring that our communities were in support throughout the process of the planning of this event. Special thanks is extended also to extend our thanks as well to Detective Sergeant Nancy Joseph for her insightful presentation on gender-based violence here in Grenada. It was dedication to our cause. Your grassroots efforts and active involvement are hotel industry, financial communities, and other representatives of corporate Grenada whose continue pit. The head of the Gender-Based Violence Unit for her dedication. Thank you to my colleagues of the Gender-Based Violence Unit, the Division of Gender and Family Affairs, and all other divisions and units of violence. Let us continue this journey with renewed vigor and shared commitment. Thank you all.
Team works. I think they need help. Now they need help. Now we need to play our part, no matter how big, how small. Thank you so much again. It's been a wonderful and very pleasure. Thank you so much. Take good care of